Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? If no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. There are no public presentations. There are no public hearings. Now down to item 7, ordinances, resolutions, and orders. Item A, which is by title only, meaning that we can't discuss it by law. First reading by title only, ordinance number 750, an ordinance enacted pursuant to the Capital Project Sales Tax Act, Title 4, Chapter 10, Article 3 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina, 1976, as amended, providing for the imposition of a 1% sales and use tax and the authorization of general obligation bonds upon referendum approval. The form of the ballot to be used in connection therewith and other related matters relating thereto. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been moved and properly seconded. As you all know, this is the first reading, so there was no discussion on first reading. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
That's 5-2. First reading only. Now down to item B, resolution number 2020-08, a resolution by Fairfield County Council issuing support for the Prisma acquisition of the freestanding emergency department in Fairfield County. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and proper second. Any discussion from council?
An explanation.
Mr. Taylor, you want to give us
On
an
this one,
explanation, please?
I will defer to our attorney, who has handled most of those negotiations for us. Mr. Morgan, if you could.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, members of council, what you have before you this evening is a resolution that basically, as the council will recall, as part of the Prisma transaction, there was some information that came about in the COPA, the Certificate of Public Advantage before DHEC, that council wished to get some more information on, particularly as related to the medical care for indigent, and making sure that there was continued quality care for citizens who couldn't afford it. Based upon not having that information at that time, council went forward with the appeal. Subsequently, we've gotten more information because of that appeal as it relates to Prisma's commitment to basically beef up the terms of the COPA to provide for making sure the quality care for the indigent citizens of Fairfield County that they're taken care of. And based upon that, the appeal has been withdrawn, and this is just as a resolution and support going forward.
Any further discussion? I guess the main thing is that we were able to
Yes, right.
capitalize at the end of that discussion, so. No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Now down to item 8, board and commission minutes. Each council member should have received information from the hospital board and Chamber of Commerce. If there's not any questions or concerns about it, we'll go to item 9. There's no business. I'm sorry, board and commission appointments, none. Old business, none. New business, none. Now to our county administrator's report, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a few items. A quick COVID-19 update. Our cases they do stand at 259 now. The state obviously is continuing to experience record cases every day, some days exceeding over 1,000. But ours have somewhat leveled off, but we're at 259. As far as how it's affecting our operations, summer camp with recreation has been canceled. We will not be having summer camp. The pool season, we will not be able to have the pool season. We are looking, however, to start on a very limited basis, use a few of the inmates to go out and cut grass in situations where they would have no public, interaction, but just cutting grass. We may start doing that. But yes. I'm sure that does have an impact on it. Obviously, you're going to discover more if you're testing more. And we have been working with Eau Claire and some of our other local healthcare providers, and they've been aggressively testing. I think we were doing more aggressive testing earlier on, especially with Eau Claire, than some of our surrounding counties.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Bell?
Is the percentage still going up? I saw one time last week, the percentage of people testing that was positive was 18%. That's across the state. Is that going up or down?
I think the cases are going up from all under.
I mean, the
89.
percentage of people testing positive versus the people getting tested.
I don't know the exact answer to that,
It
Laura.
was 18% one
Sure.
day last week.
Percentage went up or not?
Yeah, okay.
The other item, the food share, we're continuing to do that. I think Laura's been working hard on it, Ms. Johnson. I should say.
Before you go there, I got one other question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bell.
Have they canceled the trip to Hilton Head?
No, sir.
No, they have not. I think
Okay.
you have the option of doing it online, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
or going.
Okay, all right.
On the food share, Ms. Johnson has been working on that. We've, I think, got all of that range to start tomorrow again, handing out. We're doing all areas tomorrow.
Yes, sir. It's tomorrow from 5 to 7. And again, those places are the admin building here, 350 Columbia Road, the Ridgeway Fire Station, 350 South Palmer Street, and the Greenbrier Fire Station, 3025 State Highway 269. Important to note again, as was on the flyer, it's going to be 100 cars, first 100 cars served, one box per car. There's no exception to that. I know some people ride together, but there's only going to be one box per car distributed. And proof of ID is required to prove that you are a Fairfield County resident. So those things will be strictly enforced tomorrow. And I look forward to seeing everyone out.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Every
Your
every place is the same time, 5 to 7.
Every place is the same time.
Okay.
Sir.
That's all I had.
All right. There is no clerk to council's report. Now down to council time. Would any council member like to be recognized? Vice Chair Gone.
Yes, just wanted to speak a little bit on our infrastructure and how we are trying very hard to go about getting that done. And I know when you say taxes, people always they start fretting, they get excited, they get concerned. I can understand that, but taxes is how counties and towns are built, and it's not just the taxes from the county itself, but it's a shared revenue from all areas, from different sources that help the infrastructure in an area. And it is so vital for Fairfield County. If we do not do this, people say now we don't have anything, we are behind. You're going to continue to be in that position. In order to do something, to have something, you have to do something. You have to put in to get out. Taxes are a shared way of everybody, not only just for now, building for the future. When the infrastructure is laid, it's not laid in the area that we want it to be in first. It's laid in a particular area after all of the surveying and all of the other parts that move with it. It's taken into consideration, then it's laid there. But then it's always moving to extend it out further. The western side of Fairfield has been one of the main things that have always been talking about, the western side and the lower income and all of this other stuff. Infrastructure is one of the things that's going to change that. It's going to change the outlook of Winsboro, Ridgeway, Lake Watery. Without water and sewer, you cannot grow. You can't have housing, you can't have businesses, rec centers, nothing. Infrastructure is a vital part of your foundation. Infrastructure, water, sewer, your utilities. I also just want to touch briefly, Mr. Chair. I was very disappointed at the action that was taken, and I'm just going to be honest with Richland County concerning the project, the wastewater treatment plant. I lived in Columbia. I lived in Richland County, and I'm thankful for that, and Fairfield County. So I'm not talking about what somebody said. I'm not talking about data that came off the computer or from somewhere else. I'm talking about what I know, how Richland County got started and how it grew from where it was to where it is now. And it took other people helping to build to do that. The thing that should have happened, because Fairfield County is as small as Richland County almost used to be, and most of it was woods, is that to say, what can we do to help because we are growing together? And now I'm going to piggyback on the thing, the Black Lives Matter. When you say Black Lives Matter, whom do it matter to? The population has said that Fairfield County has the major portion of Black or African American, however you want to say it. But then you do something that hinders the growth and hinders um, the livelihood and hinders the living of those people. But then you say you care. If you care about people, you care about all people. Doesn't matter where they're from, what color they are, what their situation is. You care. You love them and you want the best for them. But when you put them in a portion that you only say, you will, I'm just saying, you sell your soul for a boat, I'm sorry for you. But that was very discouraging. And if anybody supported that, I'll say the same thing. It was very discouraging. It was wrong. It's not the way to build relationships. And that's what we're going to have to do. If things are going to change, we're going to have to build relationships family-wide, community-wide, statewide, county-wide. We're going to have to build relationships. But this, I'm going to be talking about it. I'm going to support it. I'm going to encourage it. These pennies are what same thing happens when you want colleges and everything else. Money comes together to do those things. So this is what's going to come together to help us build Fairfield County and make it better than what it is today.
Thank you,
Mr.
Vice
Chair.
Chair Goins. Just to piggyback off that, where what are the numbers with the capacity again, Mr. Taylor? I think we're almost at max capacity when it comes to
With sewer,
sewer. Yeah.
there are two sewer facilities, two sewer treatment plants in Fairfield County. Ridgeway has one, and both of them are antiquated. Both of them are plants and designs that DHEC would not approve today, and they're not expandable. And that's based on the fact of where they have to discharge. You can't get a larger discharge permit for Winsboro, which is the larger plant, which has the potential to be expanded as far as to create a little more capacity. But the problem is, it would be extremely expensive to do that. So, after looking at all types of different options over the years, the county's been working on this for over 10 years. The state has come in and tried to look at various options. It became clear through a process of elimination, as far as just based on engineering and based on cost, that building a new sewer plant is what's needed. Because again, back to your question, the capacity that's left is about 125, 150,000 at most at the existing Winsboro facility. And the problem is accessing that capacity because of the lines that were run, again, out to our industrial park. Unfortunately, they were undersized, and so you can't even access that capacity that's at the sewer plant in Winsboro. So in reality, even though there's about 100 and something thousand gallons out there, there's only 34,000 that can actually be accessed. We have had companies look at us in recent months that would have taken all that capacity. And essentially what happens then is DHEC tells you two things. You can either be under construction to create new capacity, or you're going to be in what's called a moratorium situation, which means you can't issue any more building permits that to hook to a sewer plant. Yeah. So essentially growth comes to an end if you can't have additional sewer other than things that can be supported by a septic system, which again, that's houses at most. You really can't do a lot of commercial and industrial on a septic system. So again, while we've had a good run with economic development, if we don't do something to address our infrastructure capacity, we won't have anything left to sell to be able to attract new industry. And we've put up a lot of money in industrial parks and the mega site. The state's been wonderful in helping support that, but those things are just dirt unless they have infrastructure to make them viable to attract industry.
And let me ask also, this problem where you say that I heard you say the lines were too small at the time when they were put in. This is not something just for us. It happened all over because at the time infrastructure was put in, the coding, everything was different. So then a lot of counties find themselves, you gotta upgrade in order to grow and expand.
It's a very common situation.
That's it.
I ran a sewer plant down in the Jasper County area for almost 15 years.
Mhm.
It was quite often that we ran into situations where lines were put in 10, 15 years ago that we had to abandon essentially and put in new lines to be able to provide the size of service that was needed. So unfortunately, people sometimes put in to save money something that really is only built for today, not built to accommodate for tomorrow. So that's very common. It happened here. It happens everywhere.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Douglas? Okay. I appreciate that update. Any other council member? Just one more thing I would like to touch bases on, and I'm sure you probably received an email in reference to the monument at the old Mount Zion. And I received a couple emails and reached out to a few council members with the city. My thing is, let's try to head this off before it becomes a problem. And if the city needs support in removing it, I guess we should offer it to them. I don't think any council member up here would be against it if that's the case. So just want to put that out there.
I too have had some preliminary discussions with the city, and they are open to trying to work out some solution. And we would be glad to be part of that solution, I would think.
Okay, awesome. All right, if no other council member has anything, there is no executive session tonight, so I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are at adjourn at this time. Thank y'all.
Great. Thank you. You still on?
That's the fastest council meeting I've ever been in.
That was pretty fast.